Hi, I'm Jimmy Shotwell from Memphis Barbecue Supply, and we're going to talk pork butts, but even better, we're going to talk pulled pork nachos. First off, we're going to start off with is what we need for the main ingredient, pork butts. Let me grab that butt for you and show what we're talking about. So, pulled pork. It's a beautiful thing. It's a classic piece of meat that we've cooked many, many times. When you want to look at your butt, you want to see, first off, is it all fat? What does it look like? Does it look appeasing to you? The sucker looks appeasing to me for a couple of reasons. Money muscle on the front, nice and big. Got a nice bone there so we can pull that out later. On the back side, the fat cap is not totally 2 inches thick. It's got a nice fat cap on the outside. So, we're gonna do this real easy. We're gonna make up a pork injection. Pork injection, you can make up your own. There's different recipes. I've heard everything from Dr. Pepper pork injection to whatnot. We like using our house pork injection. It is a sweet flavor, which has got the soy and everything else you need in there for adding moisture. Instructions are really easy. 2 ounces of powder form. And how we know, it's like a handy dandy little measurement right there. Dead on exactly 2 ounces. And then you want to do about 14 to 16 ounces of apple juice. You can use water if you want to. You can use white grape juice. The biggest thing you want to do is you don't want to add anything that's got a ton of color. When I say ton of color, you don't want to mix pineapple juice. You don't want to mix Coke or Dr. Pepper into this because that's going to stain the meat. So when we pull that pork butt out, you're going to have all that stain and all that discoloration inside the meat. You don't want that. You want this just to add moisture and a little flavor, but mostly just moisture. So take that up. What really works great, I like these little shakers, these little squirt bottles. Go to GNC or one of your protein stores, get one of those little protein shakers, got the little metal balls in it, and just shake away. If you want to, you can make this up ahead of time, but I don't like doing that. I like fresh. I like to do it fast as I can, straight out of the package. If you make this up and put it in your fridge, it will lose some of the flavor, but not a lot. But that's just me personally. If you want to make this up the night beforehand, do what you want to. Now, when it comes to injecting, think of your piece of meat as a graph paper. About every 2 inches, you want to inject and then move another 2 inches and just go down and make sure everything that you possibly can on that piece of meat is injected. So we're going to start down here at the money muscle. As you inject, just pull it back out. It's not pretty, but it's worth what we're doing to it. When you get to smaller cuts of meat, like a pork loin or something like that, instead of injecting it, brine it. It makes it a lot easier to do in brining those kind of meats than injecting. But when it comes to pork butts and briskets, I love to inject them. And it's gonna leak out, I'm gonna tell you this now. So if you're gonna do this, make sure you've got plenty of paper towels handy nearby. You're not messing up the wife's backsplash and getting all the injection all over the place. So just inject. The pork butt is not one single muscle group, it's multiple different muscle groups. When I say that, we talked about the money muscle down at the end. You've also got different strands and striations. You've got a whole shoulder, if I'm not mistaken, has 20-something just muscle groups in it. Pork butt has a few less because it's a portion of the pork shoulder. Yep, there's another splash. I'm just gonna come in the side a couple of places, even though it's gotten in there. Typically, you want to do about 1 ounce of liquid to 1 pound of meat. We're gonna have some extra here, that's okay. And it happens. So I think we're good right there. That was about 8 ounces on the dot. So we are perfect on that. Now, you got a big mess here. So paper towels come in handy. Let's go ahead and pat her dry, clamp our mess a little bit. Now, I get this question a lot in the store. Do you have to inject when you cook a pork butt? My rule of thumb typically is when you cook a pork butt on a Saturday, but you're going to serve it on Monday, inject. If you're going to cook that Saturday and serve that Saturday, there's no reason to inject unless you just need or want more moisture. For learning purposes, we're injecting here today. We're hitting this with 2 layers of rub. First layer is going to be a nice all-purpose layer. It's going to be boar's eye out, double garlic, nice savory flavor, some good butter flavor in there. And then on top of that, we're going to throw a barbecue rub on that, and it's going to be hog toss. And the reason I'm showing you those now, I'm going to show you a trick to keep your bottles clean if you're going to have both hands dirty. Take a bottle rub, take an extra glove, and just glove up that bottle. That way you don't get cross-contamination and mess up the bottle. You also can do clean hand, dirty hand if you want to. But since I'm a big piece of meat, I'm going to be using both hands to work on this. I'm going to go ahead and glove these up. So I'm going to start there with the double garlic. I'm going to put a nice generous layer of that double garlic butter on there. You want to get it everywhere. Sides, top, bottom. Yes, even on that fat cap on the bottom, you want to get some of that rub on there. So what I like to do, if I'm not injecting, the night before, go ahead and put a nice layer of both rubs on it. Come back out the next day before you throw it in the grill, put a second layer of rub on it. If you are cooking that day, a lot of folks use binders. Mustard, olive oil. Heck, I've seen folks use Chick-fil-A sauce as a binding agent. That's talking about some interesting flavors there. But I don't typically use a binder. I let the rub sit there and just kind of melt in there. Where I melt in there, you can kind of already see some of that rub's already gotten wet, and that second layer is going to come right back on top of it, stick right to it. But like I said, we're going to be kind of generous on that. Like I said, I'm using hog toss for meat and whiskey. I'm just going to put a nice layer on that like that. Like I said, hit everywhere, corners, backside. If you don't think you've got enough rub on there, hit it again. And I'll say that again. If you think you've got enough rub on there, hit it again. A lot of folks ask me, how much rub should I do? Well, this was a full bottle. I used probably about a quarter, less than a quarter of that bottle on that butt, and that's really all I need. I can come back later and hit it with a little bit more, but we're gonna get a nice little bark on there. That looks good to me. Oh heck, one more layer. Just a little bit more. And there she is. She's ready to go on to the smoker, and that's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna take this bad boy and put that out on the smoker and get it rolling for that smoke bath. An 8-pound butt typically is going to run you about somewhere between 8 to 12 hours. We're going to wrap it halfway through the process to speed up the cooking process. So this probably take us somewhere between 6 to 8 hours. We're going to run about 225, 250. Wood we're going to use is pecan and cherry over some lump charcoal and our Uncle Pookie Ugly Drum Smoker. So let's take this outside, throw it on its smoke bath. All right, so we're going to throw the pork butt on the Uncle Pookie Ugly Drum Smoker. It's a 55-gallon drum that's been converted into a smoker vertically and is wonderful for doing these long smokes. We've got a good bit of charcoal on the bottom that should last us about 16 hours smoke time. Of course, we're not going to need that full 16 hours. And we're just going to put it all in there, and I'll tell you real quick, there's 2 shelves in there that you can put meat on both shelves. You've got a firebox at the very bottom. The firebox holds 20 pounds of charcoal. In that firebox, we've got lumped charcoal mixed in with pecan and cherry wood in that firebox. And we're gonna let that sit about 225, 250, and let that roll. You see that light smoke coming off the top. And we're good to go. Let's leave it alone. We'll check it out in about 4 or 5 hours. Pick it up, take it straight to the pan. Take it on the side. So we're gonna take the pork butt and we're just gonna wrap it in tin foil. If we wanted to, we could add more flavor here. We could do brown sugar, we could do butter, we could do what we want to, kind of like what we do with ribs. But with this, since we're doing barbecue nachos, I want the pork flavor. I don't want all that sweet flavor to go with it. So we're just gonna wrap it au natural. Got enough fat in there to keep it juicy, plus we injected it. So we should be good to go on that. I like to double rack my butts because you'll see when we pull this off, it's gonna have a ton of juice in there, and I don't want any spillage. I don't want it to spill on me or the carpet or the concrete. Nice tight wrap. Let's get back on the smoker. So we've got the pork butt off. We did not open this up and dive right into it as soon as we pulled it off. We go ahead and let this rest for about 30 minutes. Now you can let this rest up to 2 hours if you need to. If you're gonna do that, put in a cooler, empty cooler, no ice, put in a cooler, and that cooler is gonna act like a hot box, and you can hold that meat for 2 to 4 hours easily. But we let it rest in its own juices for about 30 minutes, and let's dive into this and see how our pulled pork looks. It's gonna be hot, it's gonna be steamy. Yep, there's that steam. And I talked about earlier about the reason we didn't add anything to it, see all that juice that's in there, that's all that fat that's reduced out of there. There's no reason to put more butter or brown sugar into it. It's already got everything it needs. So first thing we gotta do is do the bone test. What's the bone test? Can you pull the bone out clean? Is it white? The bone test is done. Second thing I like to check is down here at the end is what a lot of barbecue folks like, that money muscle. Money muscle just pops right off, good to go. But then we can separate out different muscle groups if we want to. We can take the tubes and the different sections and do all that fun stuff. But we're making barbecue nachos. We're not doing a competition. We're making barbecue nachos. And even though I'm wearing cotton glove liners, I can feel the heat of this. It's still hot. You can see all that. I mean, oh, look at that smoke ring. Hold on, let me get a good piece of that. It's one of those tubes. And I'm gonna say words like tubes and all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm talking about, a tube. That's just a muscle group right there that is wonderful to pull apart, but also chop it up in little slices. So, oh yeah, no, we're looking good. And even what I call the false bacon. It's the meat that's underneath that fat cap on the back, and there's another fat cap in between it. It's called false bacon, or fake bacon. And I can tell it's not overcooked. How I can tell that, see I'm picking up muscle groups and they're still holding together. They still have their consistency. They still have their, they're holding together. But when I just put any kind of little bit of pressure to it, it comes right apart. Let's start assembling the nachos. So first what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some nice tortilla chips. Oh, we don't need that many, we need a lot. There we go. You can do a platter on this, you can do a bowl. I like doing it in a bowl. Just helps it hold it so much better. Take some of this pulled pork, throw it in there. Alrighty, now let's assemble this. You can stop here and just go have fun, throw some barbecue sauce on it, but we're gonna do some more. We're gonna go, just because my wife is telling me I need to eat better, we'll put some lettuce on it. We'll put some cheese on it, and I'm not using shredded cheese. We're using Poncho's, locally, used to be locally owned, but still locally known cheese dip on it. Now, we say cheese dip here in Memphis. Elsewhere in the nation, you would call this queso or queso blanco. I call it cheese dip. Throw some salsa on there. We're using Bacon Me Happy salsa, some of our house salsa. It's got some corn, it's got some bacon in there, it's got some flavor. And the last thing we're going to throw on there is what you need with pork. Doing meat and whiskey, their barbecue sauce. There's no whiskey in it. It is just damn good barbecue sauce. Now, if you want to throw some shredded cheese on there, it's got enough heat that it'll melt that shredded cheese. But that big bowl of mess is going to be my snack. So let's dive into it and see what we got. Perfect. Barbecue nachos. Messy, terrible for you, but so good. This is Jimmy Shotwell from Memphis Barbecue Supply. Follow us on all social medias. Join us on mbbqsupply.com if you want to order any of these great products. And check us out. We'll have more videos. I don't know though. This is going to take me a minute to eat this. And I may go to food coma because this looks damn good. Thank you for joining us. Jimmy Shotwell from Memphis Barbecue Supply.